Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies and gents. I don't talk too much. And I'm not desperate to be understood. Everybody knows I'm not shy. And it's not that dark. I just need y'all to know that this is Jennifer Holiday. And Jennifer is trying to get you guys to understand something. Thank you, Jennifer. Tell them how you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Jennifer Holiday with I Am Love. Unique song, very good song by that young lady. We're going to get started. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was on my way back to sleep after watching Pantheon, an AMC series, animated series, AMC. Very unique series. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have some information for you, and if you do it right, those of you who are pulled over for not having insurance, you could save yourselves a whole lot of trouble and a whole lot of tickets. Now, here's the thing. Hold on. If you don't have insurance and you get into an accident, pay attention. Pay attention. You run the risk of being sued and receiving a citation for not having coverage. Just keep that in mind. However, we have a program, the Securing One's Property, that you can get collateral insurance to cover you in such incidents. Now, hold on now. Just need to make sure you all understand because this is important. It's not insurance, it's just collateral coverage. And as we said, it'll cover you for other things. Like, let's say a person gets arrested, then they'll have that collateral to post as bond where they don't have to come out of their pocket with no stupid 10%. That's the first thing. The second thing is you need to file a lawsuit or you need to file an appeal. Then you can post this collateral so as to bond the case so that you don't have to worry about somebody summarily dismissing it because it's all a presumption. Okay, do your research. The courts operate under presumption. That's how the courts function, is presumption. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen, because something ain't right. And I gotta check something. Okay, the reason why it ain't right is because on the side here, it's supposed to let me know about the recording. And that's my fault because I took that away. So let's see if we can pause the recording for just a second. Uno momento. Yeah, it'll be 1 second because we're at the right place. And what I have to do is I'm going to. Sorry, I had to be able to see the recorder so that I can shut it off when the time comes. So y'all have to excuse that. Back to the conversation. Look up the word presumption and understand everything that's being done in the court is under presumptions. It's called presumption of law. Presumption of law is not a law. There is no law in existence on presumption. It is not a maxim. It is not nothing. Presumption is supposability. Oh, well, suppose if somebody ate a bunch of chocolate and then they ate a bunch of chocolate and then they ate a bunch of chocolate and they died of chocolate poisoning. Could that actually allow them to sue the chocolate company? Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, presumption is stupid. It has always been stupid. And the fact that you Talk to any attorney or any judge. It shows you how stupid they are. Yes, I use the word stupid because it's the word that clearly defines them. So let me, without much further ado, show you how to handle the presumption that you need insurance. Just like that presumption that you need to have a driver's license. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole insurance thing is they claim they have the right to demand you have insurance because they have to protect the public should you get in an accident and cause injury to someone else. Pay attention. They say that it's to protect the public. So they're presuming that you are a threat or a possible threat. Well, they can't presume that. If there's no evidence, you've heard the phrase, objection, Your Honor, evidence not in the record, evidence not, no, and they have not established any evidence that the blah, 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 blah. So you simply say, officer, when they pull you over, excuse me, where's the court order? What court order are you talking about? Well, the court order saying that I am a threat to the public. Where's the conviction showing that I am a threat to the public and are required to have a driver's license? The Supreme Court has said the states have a right to order people to have driver's license in order to protect the public, for public safety. Well, in order for them to do that, they would have to show that I'm a threat to public safety. Where's the court order? I'm not going to argue with. I wasn't arguing. I was asking a question. You pulled me over based on a presumption, and now you're asking questions of me based on a presumption, and you're asking me to give you my property based on a presumption, and then you're also asking me to provide you proof that I'm a threat to my fellow man, to my fellow traveler. Where is the court order saying that I am a threat in order to support your presumption? Just that simple. Ladies and gentlemen, the idea of insurance is that they claim that you are a threat to society. Now let's do something. Hold on. We're going to go back for a second. Hold on. Where are you at? Nope, too far back. Got to go to this one. This is it's called Chat AI. Give it a second. We're going to go here. Do I want this one? I don't think I want this one. No, this is not the one I want. Sorry. There are two of them. I want this one. Okay? This is, think like Chat Smith or something like that. Let's see if this is the correct one. Give it a second, y'all.
Certainly. In the United States, the requirement for individuals to have insurance while driving on highways aims to protect both the individual drivers and the public. Here are 3 case citations highlighting the necessity of public safety regulations. 1. Case. Financial Responsibility of Motorists State versus Simmons, 1962. In this case, the court held that requiring motorists to carry insurance is a legitimate exercise of the state's police power to protect the public from the financial burden resulting from accidents. The ruling emphasized that insurance coverage promotes the prompt payment of claims and ensures that accident victims and their families receive appropriate compensation. 2. Case. Liability of uninsured drivers Doe versus Smith, 1987. In this case, the court ruled that uninsured drivers pose a significant risk to the public, as they cannot fully compensate the victims in the event of an accident. The court deemed it necessary to enforce insurance requirements to safeguard the public interest and prevent uninsured drivers from imposing a financial burden on innocent parties involved in accidents. 3. Case. Mandatory Insurance and Accident Rates State versus Johnson, 2005. In this case, the court cited empirical evidence that supports the correlation between mandatory insurance laws and a reduction in accident rates. The court recognized that insurance requirements incentivize responsible driving behavior, reduce reckless driving, and ensure potential damages are covered, promoting public safety on highways. These case citations demonstrate that the mandate for insurance while driving helps protect the public by ensuring financial compensation for accident victims.
Now, do you see? Every one of them deals with protecting the public, which means that somehow you are a danger. See, how can you protect someone without there being evidence or proof that there is a need for protection, that there is danger, Will Robinson? So it's a presumption that you will possibly cause an accident. So go and look up the legal definition for an accident. It means intentional. So where is the court order or the conviction that you are a danger to the public? Now, drunk drivers, yes, sorry, you've been convicted of drunk driving. So now you have to have proof that you have the right. That's why they can order you to have a breathalyzer in your vehicle, because you pose a significant hazard to the public. However, without you posing a significant hazard to the public, they don't have the authority under any law, even the law for protecting the public, to require you to have a license. Give me one more second. Or proof of insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to change the picture. Please understand that this whole thing about being required to have proof of insurance is not a requirement in law. You're only required to have proof of insurance when you're held to be a danger to society, the same as required to have a driver's license. They claim these are public safety concerns. Well, the only reason there can be a public safety concern is when there is proof of a danger to the public. That means a conviction. Other than that, the requirement is involuntary servitude, a violation of the 13th Amendment. I promise you, some of you are definitely going to get the fact that such a requirement is a violation of the 13th Amendment, and you will never ever see the 13th Amendment the same again when you realize that a lot of the things that are required of you is you're voluntarily being placed in servitude. There is something known as the W-4 termination form. W-4 termination. Look it up. Then do yourself a favor, look up the IRS code. What I will do is I will take and I will put a link to a W-4 termination form in here underneath this video when I get a chance. Sorry, can't do it now because I was about to go back to sleep for another hour and a half. So I'll do it sometime within the next 24 hours. But the W-4 termination form, you all need to understand. Watch this. Give me a second. Let's do that. We're going to start a new chat. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Oh, sorry. Hit the wrong button. I apologize, y'all. Let's get back to that chat right there and that right there. Sorry, I'm used to using the other one. But one second, let her talk because she's got some information for you. Talk about a language model. Oh, I turned off the microphone, so I apologize. Nope, I gotta correct her.
I apologize for any confusion. To terminate your W-4 withholdings tax, you'll need to submit a new Form W-4 to your employer with updated information. Here is the IRS information you requested. 1. Start by obtaining a blank copy of Form W-4 from the IRS website irs.gov/forms closing parenthesis or your employer's HR department. 2. Fill out the personal information section, including your name, address, and social security number. 3. In the withholding section, enter 0 in line 4C if you want to stop all federal income tax withholding. This means you won't have any taxes withheld from your paycheck. 4. Sign and date the form and return it to your employer. Make sure to keep a copy for your records. It's important to note that terminating your W-4.
Be quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing illegal about terminating the withholdings. The withholdings is voluntary. Let me get her to understand that. Get her to explain that. One second. Got to go back to this page right here. I don't need this. Get out of here. I don't know how to get rid of that, y'all. Let's see if I can get rid of it that way.
While I am an AI language model and not a certified tax professional, I can provide some information that may be helpful. In the United States, the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) requires employers to withhold taxes from employees' wages. This withholding includes federal income taxes, social security.
Sorry, give me one second.
I apologize if my previous response did not meet your specific request. As an AI language model, I don't have direct access to external sources like the Internal Revenue Code or specific regulations such as 26 CFR. I can provide general information, but it's important to consult the relevant legal or tax professionals for accurate and up.
Shut up.
Yes, employer-employee withholdings, such as income tax and social security contributions, are generally mandatory in most countries. These withholdings are deducted from an employee's paycheck by the employer and remitted to the I apologize if my previous response was not clear. The employee-employer withholding program, commonly known as tax withholding, is indeed mandatory for most employees in the United States.
Okay. Now give me a second, y'all, so that I can prove my point to y'all, not to her. This is why I say you can't trust the AI models. Pay attention. Topic number 756. Go and read it, people. Employment taxes for household employees or others. You are not required to hold federal income taxes from your wages you pay to household employees or others. You are not required to pay withholdings taxes ever. It is not mandatory. Let's click on this one. Employers. Employees are required by law to withhold employment taxes. That's a lie. And I have the code. I just don't have it here. And give me one moment. Give me 1 second. As a matter of fact, I'll be right back. I apologize to all of you. Give me a second. One second, y'all.
I apologize if there was any confusion or misunderstanding. As an AI language model, I strive to provide accurate and helpful information, but I may occasionally make mistakes. Regarding employee-employer withholding agreements, it's important to note that the specific laws and regulations governing this issue can vary across
It doesn't
jurisdictions.
vary.
In some countries, such as the United States, withholding taxes from employee wages is generally mandatory, in accordance with the Internal
You see how
Revenue
she
Service
is generally?
(IRS) regulations. However, there may be certain circumstances or exceptions where consent can be withdrawn or adjustments can be made.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you notice how she says certain circumstances? Let's find out where one of those circumstances is. Let's increase this. One of those circumstances is Section 31.3402, voluntary withholding agreement. Generally, see, in general, an employee and his employer may enter into an agreement under this section to provide for withholdings of income tax. Pay attention, upon payments of amounts described in paragraph blah, 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 blah. It is not mandatory. Okay? This is Family Guardian. They call it a W-4T form. This is not an official form of the federal government. This is a form that they created. But they were 100% right. I've looked up the code. That's not the only code. I put together the same document, but I made it 2 pages because I included this information plus the official code from the Internal Revenue Service. So what we do is this right here. Come on now. Select. Come on now. We can go all the way to the end. One more again. I said end. It don't want to end, y'all. It wants to stop right there, and I want it to go all the way over. There we go. It's about time. Copy. Be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the code so that you guys know. This is from the Code of Federal Regulations. This is the Internal Revenue Service, Department of the Treasury, Subchapter C, Employee Taxes and Collection of Income for Tax at the Source. It says voluntary. Pay attention. Withholding agreement. This is the section. Voluntary withholding agreement. Employer-employee agreement. An employee and his employer may enter into an agreement under this section to provide for the withholdings of income tax upon payment of amounts as prescribed in blah, 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 blah. It's voluntary. it is not mandatory that federal income taxes be taken out of your check. Do you know why? Because it's a violation of the 13th Amendment for the federal government to demand you pay taxes on your wages. That's why you get a refund every year, people. Now, let me see if I can explain it to some of you who truly don't understand so that you can get an understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go to work for an employer, you are entering into a contract, an agreement. See, voluntary withholding agreement. You're entering into an agreement with your employer to exchange your wages for labor. That's how it works. You provide your labor and they pay you. Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you could be taxed on your labor, that means you work for the government. That means the government has authority over you to take and put their hands in your pockets so that you are constrained. That's called servitude. It's a violation of the 13th Amendment. You are only required to pay taxes is as at the end of the year you have acquired more than $13,950. Why is that? Because that's the poverty level. Anything over the poverty level at the end of the year, pay attention, is taxable. So after all of your expenses, after you write off everything, if you don't have $15,000 in the bank, if you don't have $13,950 in the bank, then you don't pay taxes. It's just that simple. You do not have to fill out a W-4. Here is your code, 26 CFR 31.3402P. Just that simple. It is right there. Read it. It says voluntary withholding agreements. That's a W-4. Employers are not forgiven if they don't give you a W-4. They are required to give you a W-4. You are the one who is supposed to click exempt. I've been telling you guys this for years. Told you when I first started, Maxine is the one who helped me to understand this. It's not no tax evasion, no tax dodging. Now, the thing about can't be taxing your wages, I've always known that because I know a slave can be taxed. But when you're exchanging your labor for a salary, they can't tax you on that unless you have an income. So after all of your expenses, because you're allowed to take care, you have the right to live. So that means there's this thing called the cost of living. So anything involved in your cost of living is write-offable. You write that junk off. And at the end of the year, after you've done all of your deductions, after you've written off everything, if you have $13,950 left in your account, then ladies and gentlemen, you can be taxed on anything over $13,950. Some of you will get it eventually. So if you're paying property tax, you write that off at the end of the year. Just literally. If you're paying insurance, you write that off at the end of the year. If you don't believe me, talk to a tax agent and tell them to prove me wrong. And definitely show them this voluntary agreement. And then tell them, what authority does the government get to tax me on my labor? Just tell them, show me the law where the people gave Congress that authority to regulate my labor, to interfere with my agreement with my employer. You cannot impede the obligation of my contract, is what you should be saying. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you are not going to understand because you see how the Chat GPT model said it was mandatory. Look at that word right there. Voluntary. Voluntary. Voluntary, voluntary, voluntary. So it's voluntary, not mandatory. Voluntary is not mandatory. So, ladies and gentlemen, your withholdings are voluntary. The reason why they're voluntary is because at the end of the year, you'll find that you do a nice little 1040 and you'll get a refund. Why are you getting a refund? Well, because they took out too much. Why? Because you volunteered too much. Stop volunteering. Start writing off all of your junk. It is not your gross or your net. It's your total that you bring in by the end of the year after you deduct, not before. Congress doesn't get to tell you when you get to deduct. You deduct after you add everything else up. Then you start, wait, I had this expense, that expense, that expense, and what's left over? If it's less than $3,950, then you don't owe any tax. That means you are a non taxpayer. And that's what you indicate. You don't have to file if you're a non taxpayer. Look up the definition for a non taxpayer. I'm not going to give you the definition. Go look up the definition for a non taxpayer. All right? Now, look, I got to go because I got to get at least 1 hour of sleep. It's 4:55. This has been an hour of me doing this. So, bye bye. Y'all have a good day.